Hello, 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 and welcome back to the Long Walk Podcast with your girl Haas, where we talk about wellness, creativity, and other musings from an elder millennial. Your girl is older, wiser, stronger, and I know you are too. For today's episode, we are talking about perception and comparison. This was not originally what I was going to talk about today, but I watched a YouTube video and it just struck a nerve. And I said to myself that this is what needs to be talked about. So, before we even begin, I want to talk a little bit about my perspective, how I tend to see the world. I tend to see the world in a very black and white way. And it's something that I don't really feel like I'm proud of because I think there's so much nuance and there's so much complexity in our human lives that it doesn't make sense for me to think and perceive the world in this way, but I do, and I'm working on it. I find it even funnier because my life is very, very gray. It's very, very gray. So it makes almost no sense for me to have such a black and white perspective. Things make sense or they don't make sense. You win or you lose. I don't know, but just really oppositional. I've always thought this way, like you're good or you're bad. Well, when I say good and bad, that has shifted a lot for me. I understand the nuance and complexities in that, but in a lot of ways, I haven't lost my frame of thinking where things are just black or white. And because of that, I have been very harsh with myself at times because, like I said, I've lived a very, very gray life. I'm strong and I'm weak at the same time. I'm loud and I'm quiet. I'm assertive and introverted. Living an existence that does not make sense for how I take in the world and perceive the world. And I bring that up because I think that that is what's been really hard for me to adjust as I mature because I want things a certain way. I want it to be clear cut and easy to get through and or understand. And that's just not how life is. So this YouTube video. I watched a YouTube video by someone named Eugene Teo. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I looked for a pronunciation but couldn't find it. So, Eugene Teo, who is a fitness coach. And the video was called Unhappy with Your Body? Watch this. I'll put a link for you guys so that you can check it out for yourselves. He is a former bodybuilder and now a fitness coach. And he was absolutely ripped, shredded like 2 years ago. He's still really fit now, but definitely not like bodybuilder competition level. So he talks about that. And he said, when being a bodybuilder was the most important thing for him, that's all he would think about. He planned his life around that. He planned his life around his meals and exercise, even while he was in school. So, thinking about like where the microwaves were on campus so he could make sure that he had his meal at the exact time he's supposed to have it. All these things, the primary focus was how he maintained his body. And he realized that, maybe at some point he no longer wanted to be a bodybuilder, but he wanted to do other things in fitness or help others in their fitness journeys. And so he stopped focusing on bodybuilding and kind of focused on more cardio and, focus on helping others. And the point of it is actually not about fitness or weight gain or weight loss or anything like that. But the point he's saying is that he looks different. He could look in the mirror and feel bad about himself if he compared his body to what other bodybuilders looked like. But that's not his focus anymore. So why should he continue to expect his body to look like something he's not focused on, something that is not the priority in his life? And why is he comparing himself to that? It's stuck with me because I think that going back to my frame of thinking and just very black and white perspective, like if I don't look this way, it's because I failed at X, Y, and Z. Or if I don't do this way, it's because I failed at X, Y, and Z. Where it's really about getting rid of how you're perceived and getting rid of that comparison and paying attention to really what are you focusing on. You look like what you focused on, and that's not a bad thing. It's just different from what you were focusing on before. I think about that. As I've said previously, I've had one health issues in the past. There was a time when I could not, well, I'm saying there was a time, there's still a time. I'm still in this time. It's much better now, but I used to be very, very into fitness and go to the gym all the time, and I couldn't do that anymore. So your body changes. I mean, among other things, there's health stuff too, but my body changed, and it was frustrating for me, and it made me very sad. And also because a lot of the changes I could not control. It wasn't really there wasn't I couldn't diet my way out of it, and I actually couldn't go to the gym and work out and kind of work out of it. But I wasn't going to because that wasn't my focus at the time. My mental health was my primary focus. And so I was doing everything to make sure that my mental health was where I needed it to be because actually my mental health was affecting my physical health. And so I would get really caught up in superficial things, yeah, I want to look this way, I want to feel this way, and think I was failing. But, now that I've listened to that video, what a change in perspective. I'm not failing. I just put my focus someplace else. And so my body looks like where my focus was. And right now, my focus, or at that time, my focus was not six pack abs. My focus wasn't a teeny waist. My focus was taking care of my mental health. My focus was managing my anxiety. And so what I look like reflects that. And that's absolutely okay. And I just love the idea of just shifting your focus and your perception and releasing comparison. Because, yes, I'm comparing myself to what I used to look like, I'm comparing myself to others, and I have absolutely no idea what's going on in other people's lives. And they have absolutely no idea what's going on in my life. And so I'm sitting here and feeling like I'm failing when no, I made a decision. I made a decision that I wanted to take care of my mental health. And not to say that you have to only do one or the other, but that is my primary focus. And so if that's my primary focus, well, my body's not the physicality of my body and the desirability of my body are not what's most important at that time. Maybe it'll change. Who knows? But that is okay. I don't know, it just kind of like opened my mind. I know that I personally need to work on my perspective and seeing everything in black and white. But I think, I don't know, this just shifted my understanding or deepened my understanding of really recognizing that you're living in the gray and that the gray is okay and it is a fine place to be because you're actually going to create more issues and challenges trying to maintain such a black and white perspective. I know I keep saying it that same way, but that way of like I'm failing because at one time I thought, yeah, I'm really failing at what I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to look like and what how I'm supposed to feel. And no, I'm not failing. I'm just getting deeper. I'm just choosing to pay attention to the things that I think are most important right now. The only reason I could think I'm failing is if I'm not staying present and I'm looking to the past of who I was, or I'm looking around at everyone else who I don't know. And so I don't know. I think this is really refreshing and really uplifting and really a healthy way to gain perspective about who you are, what you need, and how to be okay with where you are. And if you don't like where you are, and you honestly be okay with where you are and notice where you are. Maybe that's not what you want. You've been focusing on one thing, but you want to be focusing on another thing. And now you recognize that. I just think that this would give so much peace to others, because another thing, I mean, I watched a couple videos by this guy and he was really, really cool. He had another video about, again, shifting from bodybuilding and kind of having a more expansive, wanting to have a more well rounded fitness routine so that he's also strong and also agile and also flexible and have endurance. And so that he would look differently just by choosing that. Even though, we think of strength, we think of all these muscles and everything, but that if you want to be fast and great with cardio and great with flexibility and mobility, that's going to make you look a little different too. And it was weird because this is all about fitness, but it's about life. If you stretch yourself or deepen your needs or deepen your perspective or open yourself up to a different view, it's going to change you. There's nothing wrong with that. We're supposed to change. I think that's what we miss so much. Or you know what? Even I'm saying we, but also myself. We're supposed to change, and that means everything. That is a good thing because it gives us space to learn. It gives us deeper understanding of ourselves. It gives us the ability to grow. Maybe if we embrace that more, then we'll be less concerned with comparing ourselves with others or past versions of ourselves. I don't know, it's just a very healing notion to me. So check out the video. Let me know your thoughts. Does this change anything for you and how you see yourself? Does it change anything with how much you've compared yourself to others? I know it's changed something for me. Again, let me know your thoughts. As always, you can always find me on Instagram at the Long Walk Podcast, Twitter and YouTube at Hasina Music, and Facebook at Hasina. Thank you for listening to The Long Walk. I so much appreciate it. I look forward to continuing this walk with you. See you soon. One love. Peace.